What's the biggest conflict or struggle that you've had working together? Just gonna hear it right.
I'm gonna want to watch the movie. You know, trailers where they just watch the trailer and you're like, oh, I've seen the whole movie.
But I do think that communication holistically and learning how to do it. So, an example. When me and Holly get in a fight, there's 3 things we try to do. So the first one was let the other person speak. When they were done, ask them if they were finished. Not in a way of like, are you finished? But like are you done? Okay. Repeat back what the person said. So here's what I heard. Because we all know I can say something and you just heard something different, right? That's just what we do. Hear what I said and then repeat back. So once you repeat back, the person can go, no, like this is what I meant, and they can bring the clarity. The third one is at any moment in time in the conversation, if a person feels attacked, they only have to say, I feel attacked, and the other person, without making any excuses, just goes, okay, I'm sorry. Like, step back. If the problem or issue or whatever's coming up cannot be resolved in that moment, that you take a rain check and you put a date, like tomorrow at 2 o'clock, tomorrow when we come home from work, whatever it may be. Not like, we'll deal with this later indefinitely. It never happens. Because there's some people like me who are like, no, I want to deal with it now. That I need to know, okay, Holly's shutting down. She wants to go talk about it. It's better. Okay, wait for it. That's easier said than done. But those communication principles have helped us. And once we came to the issue, we say that each person needs to own their part, even if it's 1%. And you talk about that 1%, not the 99. And the other person has to own their deal. And then we say, you're sorry. But we don't just say you're sorry. In our family, we say you have to ask for forgiveness. Because being sorry, what we say, oh, I'm sorry I did this. Oh, it's okay. And we say, no, it's not okay. It's never okay for someone to do something wrong against you. You may say you forgive them. And forgiveness means I'm going to absorb whatever pain you cause, whether it's stepping on my toe or whether it's lying to me. I'm going to absorb it, but I'm not going to treat you as your actions deserve, so that we can continue the relationship. And Holly could say, or I can say, I'm going to forgive you. Give me some time. It doesn't have to be immediate. Like, I know I'm going to because I love you, but give me some time because, like, it's still fresh.
I just think some of the things that I used to approach in my relationship with Lizzie before I understood vulnerability, I was just like so one-sided and like blinkered. But the moment that I go, I hear you saying this and this is the story I'm painting in my mind, it takes all that sting out of, you know what I mean, like out of the argument or whatever.
How people deal with that is they don't talk about it, or they fight with each other, and that pushes people out. The vulnerability draws people in.
It pulls the wall down. You know, relationship can't survive with a big thick wall in between it, you know what I mean? And that's what the opposite of vulnerability does. It just cuts off the connection, and when you pull that wall down, you know, the vines start to grow together, if that makes sense.
I can take responsibility if he's coming at me angry about something that I've done, or I'm coming at him angry about something that's happened. We can both go, well, they're like treating me like that, but I can own my own response. I can come back in a different way, in a way that's helpful, and rather than it being a blame game. Because I think the thing that I can be certain about most of all in my life is myself, not a selfish way, but in a owning, taking responsibility for my actions kind of way.
E plus R equals O, which is event plus response equals outcome.
Yeah.
And so we can't control the event.
He really does have those kinds of things too. He talks like that a lot. It's helpful.
So we can't control the event, but we can control the response part of the equation, and that affects the outcome.
Marriage is hard, and it has lots of challenges, but marriage is probably one of the most rewarding things, if not the most. Like, I have children, and I'm being dead serious and pretty honest right here. Maybe because I'm not a great dad, I don't know what it is, but I enjoy investing in my marriage because I know that one day my children are gonna leave. But this is till death. Like, we are continually gonna be on the same team, fighting for the same things.
I think it's this comparison that, like, not just for marriage or relationships, but with like Instagram, and you're constantly seeing pictures of other people's lives. You create your own story about it, and then in a way, like, I could usually put myself down of how I'm not being enough. I just have to be aware of the stories that I'm creating in my head.
Take her anywhere. It does. It feels like we're in the Titanic. Fall.
I would recommend being married if you are ready to be committed. If you understand that marriage is not a contract, where you hire somebody and if they do the job, then you can be with them. Or it's not a consumer relationship where if you do the things that that I want you to do, then I'll keep getting goods from you. But if I find someone down the street that I can get the goods for a little cheaper, just so you know, sorry T-Mobile, I'm going to Verizon, right? And if you do relationships like their marriage like that, it's very harmful. But if you do it in the sense of what can I give to the other person, and the other person is saying, no, what can I give to the other person? Then you might have something that is lasting, and it's not based on superficial things that will inevitably change.
I grew up in the days when it was expected that every person would meet their perfect mate and their Prince Charming for sure, and then get married and live happily ever after. And I met my Prince Charming, and that was your Grandpa Wall. He was in uniform, he was adventurous, he was exciting. But when we started to live together, it wasn't all perfect. They say the worst of times and the best of times. And I'm grateful for that experience because I did love him, but I also found him very challenging to live with. And that's okay, but it's not what you expect. You don't expect the rocky times and the fact that you see things one way and they see things another way. I was 20 when I was married. By the time I was 30, I had 9 children to care for. There were rough spots in our marriage. We had I remember one time I sat down and I thought, now I'm going to make a list. These are the reasons I should stay married. These are the reasons I should just give up and go on my merry way. And the list on the reasons why I should stay in the marriage convinced me, yes, this is the right thing to do. It was almost 60 years, 4 months short of 60 years when he died. You know, I'm thankful I was able to hold him in my arms in his final moments on this earth. And I learned from him. I learned how to live and how to die, both. I think I would have missed so much had I given up. But I can look back on my life with joy. I can look back on my marriage with joy and thankfulness that I had that relationship, even though it was rocky. I really believe that God gave us the gift of marriage. And it's a perfect way of people learning to love and to live and to grow.
I think we have a really healthy level of transparency with one another. I mean, he knows my crap, I know his crap, and there's just a really healthy level of trust. It's just so important to be real right? Like, life is hard, and we don't live in a facade of we've got it together, or you know, things are good when things may not be good, and sharing hardships or heartaches or, you know, whatever you're struggling with. I think that's what we're here for. Like, that's the best way you can love people.
If I was just chose my fear and say like, oh, I can do this, you know, I'm not going to be hurt anymore. And so I had to break my walls in order to understand love. Yeah. This is profound, Riccardo. You should buy me flowers afterwards. Yeah.
Let's go for coffee. Have breakfast.
Coffee. Let's breakfast together.
Yeah, seeing your conversations as frequently as possible, it always keeps things just entertaining.
Sometimes we sing our conversations.
Sometimes we sing about things that don't matter.
Yeah, there's lots of that.
Like stuff that you like love to do together, your favorite things about each other, you kind of mentioned.
Probably I'd have sex. It's probably my favorite.
It's pretty awesome.
You said that? I just said it.
You said it.
I did.
I supported it.
It's pretty great. I love sex. Sex is awesome. Sex for the win.
You're learning as you go. You're making it all up as you
couldn't
go.
possibly.
You know two people like you have ever been married together in this particular combination, so there's no rules on this, there's no textbook. You've got to figure it out, be patient with each other, be patient with yourself.
And be open to learning and changing.
Yeah, have a beginner's mind, have a sense of learning and openness, and not thinking you've got it figured out, or that you're supposed to, but just hold on for the ride.
Yeah.
But I think it's really strong to say, you know, I'm going to choose one woman, stick with that, because as we said earlier, my eyes work and I see other attractive women, and but this is my girl, and for 20 years and my whole life she's been my only girl, and it's amazing. Of course it's worth it. Yeah.
I like his answer.
Most of the times we struggle in life, it's because we feel hopeless. And, you know, I go back to that, you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know that there's hope on the other side because you've never been there. When you have been there and you've seen time and time again, you know what, we've been through a really hard thing and we made it. You can do this. It's so many times it's simply your choice. Either choose to humble yourself and say, you know what, I'm right. I know I'm right. But you know what, being right isn't even important right now. Really, what does it matter? Is it going to matter in 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days if I'm right? No. Is it going to matter if I'm still married? Yes.
The biggest advice would be support the heck out of your wife and whatever she's going to do, if it's healthy and beautiful or if it's neutral. Like, even if it's something that's not going to pay out or something that seems like a waste of time, get behind her and be a champion. And on the flip side, wives need to know they actually have the power. I tell people, what makes me feel like Superman is if my wife's with me and for me, no matter what I'm doing. I can do, my job could be the most insignificant job in my mind, but if Holly's like for me, I feel like Superman.
He always poses these questions, and one was, so what's the thing about Kelly that you love, you love the most? And I got teary, and it's always hard for me to talk about, is just how brave she is. She is the bravest person I've ever known. And I've gotten to benefit from that bravery. And so I've just always appreciated that about you.
To have been chosen to be his bride. Oh, it's good. That I get to do this life with him. So good. So thankful.
You know, it's been the greatest, the greatest time of my life with this woman. She makes me a better person, so.
June 26th, 1956. My Joan. Sweet as thy love to me, nothing our hearts shall sever, ever thine own I'll be. He said, I can't promise you riches anything other than that I'll love you. And that he did. His memory's with me every day. And
I've got nothing. That's it. We're back to square one. Our project is stupid.
I don't know if I can do anything more.
How could it go wrong? It's supposed to be all of these things.
I thought that it was gonna kill me. That was the first step. Just like say it out loud.